In most cases, it's a simple fix of replacing the hose clamp or reseating the hose. Today we're going to do a video on the 10 most common defects found on a survey. We're going to throw in a mix of different boats and not stick to a shaft or a stern drive. I'm excited to do this video with Don. I'm going to do the first 5 defects and he's going to do the last 5. The first most common defect is leaking shaft or rudder seals. Now there's a bunch of different seals you can get. You can get a PSS seal or you can get a packing gland seal. I know a packing gland seal is meant to leak, but as the PSS and lip seals get older, it's quite common to see them leak and need replacement. The second most common thing we find is an overdue cooling system service. Now, we often get people and they say, you know, why touch it if it's still working? But the reality is, if you've got a leaking aftercooler, you could potentially be putting salt water back into your engine and not even knowing about it. The more frequently you do a cooling system service, the less costly it's gonna be. So if you save in the short term, it's gonna cost you in the long term. Another common one is damage to the back corner of the boat. It's quite common to see somebody misjudge the corner of the berth and then the back of the boat hits and you cause damage. Whilst in most cases it's usually repairable, it's still a common place to look. This one always comes as a bit of a surprise and people ask, you know, is the out of water even worth it? It is when you pull up a set of damaged props. It's going to cost you $5,000 a side. No one really knows until you actually pull it out, as you can often mask this problem with barnacle growth. But when you pull a boat out and it looks like this, you'll be glad you did the out of water. Number 5 is a leaking hose. Whether it's a hose clamp that's corroded and failed or a hose that hasn't been seated properly. In most cases, it's a simple fix of replacing the hose clamp or reseating the hose. But if left unattended, the potential for major damage is huge.
Defect number 6 is a leaking sump. This is something that you'll commonly see on a 10-year-old diesel engine. Most manufacturers will recommend that you torque the bolts regularly. If this is left unattended, you could have to lift the engine or remove the engine completely to fix the problem, which will cost you more in the long run. Defect number 7 is rotten stringers. This will commonly occur when you have timber cord stringers. A quite common occurrence I see is that holes over time have been made in the stringers. Water ingress comes inside and rots the timber cores. A way to remedy this is to fill in any holes that you see in your stringer, but obviously if it's been left unattended for a long period of time, you're up for a bigger repair bill. Defect number 8 is a corroded sump. What we commonly see here is something as simple as a water pump leaking all the way down onto the sump and corroding one corner of the sump. This is quite a common fix if your mechanic can notice a water pump leaking early, or yourself even if you check the engine bay regularly. At the end of the day, if it's corroded, you'll have to lift the engine out and replace the sump entirely. Defect number 9 is a rotten deck. We see this quite often when there's been teak or other material laid on top of the deck and the people have made holes inside and there's way for water to get into the deck. You'll notice this by walking around and have a spongy feeling underfoot. And once you notice that it's spongy underfoot, you have to further investigate and it could become a much bigger job. So the last thing we most commonly see is overheating. Myself and Aaron and Brendan must break down at least once a week on this defect. It can be from something simple as a clogged seawater intake, or it could be more sinister as your engines require a cooling system service or a faulty thermostat. You just have to further investigate and hopefully it's the easy option so we can make it home. So if you've enjoyed the video and you've understood my Scottish accent, just smash the like button and we'll see you next time.